suits us. Definitely not for Aston, though. Probably need to change driver.
Vinceva la sua prima in rosso, Michael Schumacher, 30 anni dopo, sul traguardo, Lewis Hamilton.
Good reaction time for Kimi Antonelli. He's close. George Russell holds the lead. George Russell holds first place. An overtake again. Isaac Hadjar choosing his own racetrack right now. How much speed can Antonelli take through the high-speed turns of 13 and 14?
Oh, Russell's, I think he's got nothing left to defend here. He's running out of energy at the end of the lap.
Fernando Alonso is stationary. At turn 9, virtual safety car, which is deployed. And where is Hamilton? Hamilton has gone beyond the pits. We are now racing to the control line at reduced speed. Lewis Hamilton's looking for the white line that defines him as the race leader. Whoa!
Problem.
He's breaking down! He's breaking down! Kimi Antonelli had passed his teammate, but he will not finish the Grand Prix! This is Charles Leclerc. At the same time we were watching Antonelli retire, he reported the power steering went straight on. Lewis Hamilton wins a Grand Prix for Ferrari! His first Ferrari Grand Prix victory comes in Spain. 106 victories!
So history has finally been made. No one thought he could do it, and he's finally managed it. Lance Stroll has finally beaten Alonso at qualifying.
Wow! You've completely caught me off guard. Oh, talk about whiplash. Oh, did not see that coming at all.
Good intro, yeah?
Yeah. Oh, that'll do. That'll do, donkey, that'll do. Yeah. No. Wow. Yeah, he did. Yeah,
After
first and only
43
time.
Grand Prix, he's finally done it. But you're probably in a very good mood, Drew. You like your British drivers.
I do.
And it's been 3 drivers on the podium with Hamilton on the top step. That's not been done since 1968. One absolute drive from him.
Yeah.
He got that shocking qualifying out of absolutely nowhere. And then he had a very strange strategy from Ferrari, a 3-stop, and absolutely sunk it. It was amazing to watch. What are your takes?
I am so chuffed. For a very, very long time, I refused to believe that he was over and done with, like a lot of the pundits and commentators were saying. I'll be honest, 2025, doubts were beginning to creep in a little bit. It's like, at some point, things are going to have to change, otherwise it's game over. But then this year, he's just had a run of podiums. You can see the improvement there. And finally, after such a long time, about 2 years, 18 months, 2 years, he's finally got his win. And what a win. What a win. I actually didn't think the 3-stop was that bad a call, actually. I mean, we said in the last podcast how Ferrari are beginning to trust him, which is great. I still think there's a little bit of old school habits that are still there, that we saw, but nothing to the point that could have destroyed his race, I don't think. I think they called it well. I actually think Mercedes should have covered him off during the second stop, and they didn't. They chose to go along.
Well, I think Russell even said this, of they were going to try and cover him off, but they were so dead set on their strategy. And even if there hadn't been like a virtual safety car to help Hamilton, Russell said that he'd probably have made his way through eventually, when I've sort of like a last few lap battle, really. But Hamilton was on such good form. And to be fair, I'm not surprised that they did so well, because I've actually learned of how many upgrades they brought. They brought 8 upgrades compared to, I think, like Cadillac and Red Bull brought 2. A lot of the other teams brought 1, and then obviously Aston brought 0, which it's not a surprise at this point. But yeah, you've got basically a new car, which I don't quite understand how that wasn't broadcast as much, because I know that in Miami, obviously McLaren basically said they've got a brand new car and it's going to be amazing. We didn't hear that from Ferrari. They were just sort of like the silent devils in the corner, just waiting. But they've got a new wing, new floor, new diffuser, new side pods. It is basically a car. And as you say, they're starting to listen to Hamilton a lot more. I think he said that he wanted to do a lot of these changes last year, but couldn't for various reasons. And now they're actually listed, as you say. He's actually got new brakes. He's actually using the brakes that Mercedes used to use last year, which is the one that I believe Leclerc's gone to as well. So they've gone from Brembo to, it's called Carbon Industry. But they've got a lot more of a bite on them, which is what Hamilton likes, which it's really good to see. And also Hamilton's now got his Italian Bono, he said, which was really nice.
Yeah.
There's Carlos Santi. Which means there shouldn't be any more T brakes, or not as much, because he's doing what Schumacher did in my eyes. So obviously he's changing the culture of Ferrari, because they are so set in their ways. And the only time they've ever won championships is when people have said, no, you're doing it wrong, which was obviously Niki Lauda and Schumacher, who coincidentally actually won his first race with Ferrari 30 years ago at Spain.
Wow.
Little fact of the day for you. How things come round in circles.
Yeah, that's a nice little statistic.
Yeah.
He's always complained about the brakes being naff. And it's an interesting situation because Ferrari and Brembo go back quite a long way. And Brembo have obviously hit back at Charles in the press about his comments about their brakes. But I think we saw for ourselves, didn't we? It's a massive improvement for Charles. Despite the end result with his power steering, I think overall Leclerc's performance in Barcelona was him back. He was unfortunate with the retirement, but he could have brought that home in fourth. I think third was out of the question. I do think he was going to get caught. But overall, it's definitely going in the right direction. I think hopefully he should take confidence in that moving into the rest of the European races. Like you say, there was a point, I think it was the second stop. He went in, changed his tyres. Russell didn't cover him off. They chose to stay out. And then when he came in, there were two words that entered my mind. Obviously, it wasn't said. It's a different team. It's a different relationship. But all I could think of was, come on, Lewis. And I'm sure there was plenty of other people that thought that too. And he did. He put in a stonking lap whilst Russell was in the pits. Granted, it was under... Oh, yeah, it was. It was just before the VSC came out, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
And then he got lucky a little bit later on with the VSC. A little bit lucky. I mean, that is, to be fair, racing. But great performance from Lewis.
Well, he just kept on getting fastest laps. And it was literally like watching the old Hamilton of just constantly smashing it. And to be fair, I actually really enjoyed the race because it was backwards in my eyes. So at the start, everyone's looking after their tyres. Not really much happens.
Yeah.
Then it became a game of chess with the strategy, which is what I absolutely love. I love that strategical advantage that teams can have. And then obviously at the end, it was absolutely marvellous because I was still thinking something might go wrong, something might happen. And then also the retirements again, right at the end, like Antonelli, how unfortunate is that? I think something's really going wrong with that Mercedes because it's not just their team it's affecting. It's obviously it's affecting McLaren as well.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of looking in to do because they have a really good engine, but it just can't last a Grand Prix for some reason.
There's always something happening. It was bound to happen at some point, given what's happened already this year with Russell and the McLarens. It was bound to happen. And I think, to be fair, and I know you called it last time out, but I think 6 on the bounce in the first year of regs was probably a step too far. I don't think, with everything else that's going on, all the other variables, I didn't think that was possible. On the plus side, he's got it out of the way now. They will know what has gone on. It's Europe, so it's not going to take them that long to get on top of it and get it back to the factory and find out. So I honestly don't expect another one, really, next time out in Austria. And I reckon Antonelli will be back on it. Antonelli's performance, however, and this was interesting because, yes, Russell got pole. Yes, he got away very, very well and kept the lead for about half the race. And he was doing very, very well. But then, despite the poor start from Antonelli, he was bringing it back. And towards that end period, he was catching Russell. He would have caught him. He would have passed him. Oh, no, he did, didn't he?
Yeah, he did pass
No,
him,
he did pass him.
And about 2 corners later, his engine went bye-bye.
That could be because he was pushing so hard, to be fair. But he'd have kept it and he'd have not... I don't think he'd have caught Hamilton. I genuinely doubt. I think he'd have come home in second. But what a race. What a drive. That was a championship drive, despite the retirement. And I think the comments that he made after the race as well were quite bullish. You know, he wasn't all that fussed about his retirement, really. He still thought and believed he was the fastest out on track. She might have been. He left it a bit too late to catch Hamilton, but he might have been. I think it bodes well for the future. He's not fussed by it at all. I think being passed by Antonelli is another chip at Russell's confidence. I thought this weekend would have been the turning point. I really did. I think in a lot of ways it possibly was, but getting passed by your younger teammate in that kind of fashion has gotta hurt.
Yeah, so I don't know if this is sort of maybe tabloid thinking in a way, but to say Antonelli retired, one of the first times I saw him after the race was giving Hamilton a hug, just as he won. And then in the actual press conference, George doesn't look himself at the moment. He looks very drained in a way. And he's happy for the P2, but it's just very strange to think that the way he sort of answers back, he doesn't quite understand what's going on himself, I don't think. It's all very, it was good. Yeah, that is all very short, if that makes sense. I don't think he's really recovered mentally from the strains of getting beaten by Kimi, whereas Kimi's sort of just a young toddler, just happy with life at the moment, is the best way to describe it. And I don't think George has it in him now to change until the end of the summer break, like I said in the last podcast. So it'll be interesting to see what the next set of races will bring. Because if Russell gets a win, I don't think that will satisfy him at the moment. I think Kimi's now living in his head rent-free. Yeah. And that's got to hurt a lot, like you say, massively.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he is. I mean, this is something I was thinking about during the race, actually, especially when Lewis won. When Lewis won, it marks the end of an incredibly long period. Yes, it was, I think it was about June 2024. I can't remember the name of the race now.
Silverstone.
No, it wasn't. Belgium.
Oh, right. I thought it was his last win.
That was his last win. Belgium 24.
Oh, was it?
I think so, yeah. From what I could be wrong. But from what I've seen so far, yeah, I'll have to double check that later. We'll bob it up now. But I believe it was Belgium 24. But even going back further than that, sort of like the start of 2022 post Abu Dhabi, it's an incredibly long period of time that he's had to endure bad luck, bad performance, just not being in the fight after leading it for so long. And he's had the mental strength to keep going for an incredibly long time. You've had Lando, who's had to do the same for a much, much shorter time. But again, he's had to do the same thing. He's had to go through that period of keeping strong, resetting, going again. And there's been many others as well, obviously, over the years. So George has got the time. You know, even if he gets to the summer break and has a bit of a reset and comes back fighting for the second half of the season, I still think he's got the time. And I don't think we should write him off just yet. I think he's probably got a chance, but he's got to get, like you say, he's got to get Antonelli out of his head, and he's got to start and race his own race. I did like the fact though that he didn't whine this time. He actually did what I've been hoping he was going to do, and he was just shut up and let his driving do the talking. And I think that's a massive step forward for him.
Yeah, well, he was quite positive in a way in the post race, because he said, in a jokey way, you've got 18 more points in the last 2 races. So he clearly knows sort of where he's at and what he needs to do. I just don't think he can do it in time necessarily. But you never know, things might change, because one of the questions I'm thinking now is, can Ferrari bring it to Mercedes? And that's maybe not on outright pace, but strategical over the course of a year. So it reminds me like maybe a 2007 vibe, where if you finish P2 enough, you'll eventually win the championship.
Yeah, it's happened so many times in so many different championships. Consistency wins. Do you know what I mean? Even if you get in a lot of P2s, it can still win you a championship without a single win. Obviously, that's not the case this year, but it's certainly possible. And to be honest, before Barcelona, I didn't think Ferrari had the pace. Now we've had Barcelona and we've seen the effect of the upgrades, which will obviously continue, especially after the summer break. No, I think they've got a shot. They've been second and third most of the season. Now they've got to win. No, I think we've got a genuine battle on our hands now.
Yeah, I think I need to revise what I said on the last podcast, where Ferrari need to concentrate on next year. How little faith did I have in them? They are absolutely fantastic. The only problem is now it's going to be a development war in a way. They've got all the kinks out with the engines mostly-ish. Super clipping's basically gone, or not being talked about as much.
Yeah.
So
can we just talk about that for a second, actually? Because I'm going to hold my hand up and say, yes, I have been one of the many that have very heavily criticised these regulations this year, for good reason. But Barcelona was an epic, true race. We had proper overtakes, proper battles. That was F1. That's what I'm talking about. It was proper F1. I know the technology is still there and working in the background, but the discrepancies between it just aren't as huge anymore. And next year, when we get the fuel flow changes, so there's more power in the ICE engine, I think it's just going to get better and better and better. I'm still looking forward to the V8s coming back. Don't get me wrong. But as racing goes, that was a fantastic race. And I'm so glad that we're getting proper battles again. I get why Antonelli was in a battle with Russell, because he wants to win everything, but it did slow him down. It did slow him down a little bit, and it did allow Hamilton to just stretch that lead just out to a comfortable amount.
Yeah, it did remind me of Australia when Hamilton was in first, and I was just seeing like George and Kimi going at it. I was like, go on, boys, you keep fighting over second and third.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, I was happy. I was definitely happy. I like to see the underdog and the Brits come back and do well, but it's just natural, isn't it?
Although talking about some changes and stuff, obviously there was one retirement I am absolutely devastated by, Hulkenberg. Did you hear what actually happened?
Yeah, I did. A chance in a million that could happen. Which, again, I suppose that's motorsport, though, really. In case you haven't heard, which you probably have, Liam Lawson went off the track, didn't he? Ever so slightly, kicked up a little bit of gravel into the air. And it was one tiny little piece of gravel that broke the bodywork and knacked his engine, which is insane to think.
Oh, no, it's worse than that.
Oh, really?
There is a safety feature called a kill switch where you just press it and then the car dies, and so, prevents fire. The gravel hit that, and his engine just went, okay, shut down.
Terrible look. I mean, it's a stupid way to go out of a race, but I suppose that happens.
And the first time he's ever got out of Q3 as well.
Yeah.
That would have been a really good point all for Audi, but on to the next one, I guess.
Could always be worse for Audi. I think for your first year, they're doing all right.
Yeah.
For your first year in the sport, I think they're doing all right. They're about where I was going to expect them to be.
I was sort of wanting them to be basically similar to like Sauber, really. It's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, for now. It's a learning year for all of them, and I think they'll settle down pretty quickly. It'd be interesting to see what happens next year, actually. Especially considering the whole point of Audi coming in was because of these regulations. So to the fact that they're changing, and they seem to be open to it. I'm pretty sure I've seen something posted about them agreeing to the changes to the regs over the next few years, which is a bit of a surprise. But yeah, no, fair play to them. Fair play to them. Actually, there's another team that I thought did really well. Were Alpine. Bottom end of the top 10, but again, both of them scoring points. Solid result, solid race for both of them, I think.
It was, yeah. I was actually quite surprised with a little bit of battling going as well, which is really nice to see. And Gasly's one of my unsung heroes. I think he's a fantastic driver. Obviously, actually, he got his podium in Monaco in the end. That's now been overturned.
Well, yeah. Though there are sort of other rights of appeals that I think are still in the air.
Yeah, Red Bull were being a bit cagey in giving the trophy back, weren't they?
Yeah, and I think Merck as well have, whether they'll see it through or not, I don't know, but they've gone, well, if Gasly can get his back,
everyone can get theirs back.
Everybody really should get back. Plus, then they're going to say, well, how are you going to work that out? Because George had a drive-through as well. It's just, you can't do it.
Yeah, I think with George, once you serve the penalty, that's sort of job done. But the other ones you can argue, but I don't think it's a great idea to let anyone do it, because you just need to be able to say, really sorry about that. We'll try again next year, because otherwise it's going to mess everything up and cause so many arguments across the fans and the teams.
Yeah. And in all fairness to the FIA, they were damned if they do and damned if they didn't. Once that error had been picked up, it was just too late. And I do think, as I said before, we should use data rather than sort of arbitrary calculations, because that's where errors can creep in, especially when they're already aware of, an area where drivers can cut. And if you give a racing driver an area that they can cut, they're going to cut it. Whether you tell them to or not, they're going to take that. And I think there are, in this day and age, easier ways that they can monitor that. Definitely. Possibly even putting in like an area of tolerance, half a mile an hour or something would have cleared that out completely, and it wouldn't have been an issue anymore.
But do then teams get that extra half a mile in with all their fancy toys?
Well, if they were to choose to do that, that's kind of against the spirit of the regs. And then if they are caught anything over that extra half a mile an hour, they've got not a leg to stand on.
Yeah, but it's the risk and reward, isn't it? It's what all teams do. They will bend and break rules and then see if they can get away with it.
Yeah, but apparently the Alpines are set to 59.5.
Yeah, I was looking on the onboard. It's like 56 that he was doing on the onboard. Well under.
So it's strange. I mean, that's obviously why he's got his podium back. But yeah, I actually thought Hadjar was going to be on for a decent result as well, actually, the way he was coming back through the field.
Yeah, he had a stinker of a start, didn't he? With just wheel spin. Just couldn't get the power down. No. And then, I think he moved up to like 3 or 4 places in like 3 laps or something daft. It was really well done. Really well done.
He went for it. Definitely a decent drive from Hadjar. Definitely a decent drive. What happened to Hadjar? I can't remember.
He finished P6, didn't he?
Did he finish P6? He didn't quite get all the way then. Did he fall back then towards the last part of the race?
Yeah, I think he was having some battery issues, basically. Same as every team that's going on. I think when we're hearing about these retirements, obviously we see them, we're saying that it's poor reliability and all of this. But actually, a lot of the drivers complaining in the middle of the race, their deployment and things like that. I think at one point, one of Kimi's qualifying laps, he pressed the button too late, sorry. So he didn't maximise his battery deployment, which made his lap slower. And that's just from not pressing the button soon enough. But then you can also do it too early, and then you're in the same position.
Yeah. Yeah. What do we think about Red Bull then? So I picked Max for third, which I suppose was a bit of a stretch, but he did all right. I think he was fourth.
He was fourth, yeah. And he's only sort of 20 seconds behind Norris. So, I mean, I don't think he could have get third, to be honest. I think Norris was a little bit too on form today. I think the McLaren was a better car overall. But I think he did all right. He just probably saw our podcast and went, can't get Drew a point.
Exactly. I know. Next time, Max, next time. He's changed. He's definitely mellowed. I think family life has chilled him out. I think the reality of going, I've got other things I can do. He's properly chilled out, should I say. I'm a bit of a Max fan now. I wasn't so keen on him in his early days. But now he's becoming a champion. He's behaving like a champion. And the way that he's being with Lewis and Antonelli as well, it speaks volumes for him. I reckon he's got a couple of podiums in him this year, especially with the upgrade. Well, depends how that plays out. Obviously, Red Bull are arguing whether they are the strongest or not. Yeah, I know that's under review at the moment, so we'll have to wait and see how that plays out.
Yeah, because I know that they are looking at reviewing it because there is potentially, I don't know how true this is, but potentially some of the teams that have been underrunning their engine on the test itself or something. I don't know how true that is, and I don't know how they wouldn't catch it. But I could believe it. If it came out, I wouldn't be surprised. It's the sort of thing the teams would do.
I said, I either did say it in the last podcast or I was planning to and bottled it because I don't want to be seen as a conspiracy theorist. But it wouldn't honestly surprise me if they underran it. It really wouldn't. But again, like I said before, it's the power unit isn't a combustion engine anymore. It's a mix of two things, and you should take both things and measure that to figure out who's the quickest. You know, you don't just use the internal combustion engine in a race, you use all of it. So why aren't you measuring all of it? It's just typical FIA weirdness. Why the hell they would choose that? I don't understand it, but who does?
The handicap seems a bit strange as well, because I get why you'd get upgrades this year, but you also get them next year as well. And I think if that was the case, you should retest the engines and then reapply them for that season. You shouldn't do it for the 2 years, because what if you make an absolute blinder of a car the next year because you know this year's basically out the window, and then you've got free upgrades? It's just a bit strange to me.
Well, I mean, it's the upgrades are split, but I don't get why, because you'll be into a different development cycle next year.
Yeah,
you know, you've got 12 months of learning under your belt. You know where you are a lot more. I don't get it myself, to be honest. Why would you split it, especially if a team is so far behind? They need that right now. And there's also a cost cap increase as well. That's to allow them to obviously put the upgrades into practice. But this is kind of what I was meaning when I was talking about Aston last time round. You know, I mean, both of them out again. Both of them languishing at the bottom of the field. If a team needs a massive boost, it's them, and it's now.
I suppose it makes it fairer overall, but I still just don't see the point. Like, if you're testing on that year, get it that year, so to speak.
And then, like you say, retest for the year after. No, that makes a lot of sense.
It'd be something to do over the winter break, something we could talk about as well.
I think you should petition the FIA, mate, and let them know your advice.
I sent them an email yesterday. They said they'd get back to me.
Yeah, I think they'll be very grateful for that. Genuinely do. Yeah. I suppose we should mention tyres, because it was a massive, massive effect, wasn't it? Huge degradation because of the temperatures. But not that much of a difference, really, between the softs and the mediums. So
No,
it's pretty high.
It's fairly typical, though, in Spain to have horrendous tyre degradation. It's just more about how they manage it, because they didn't seem to be struggling as much. There seems to be a lot more sort of calm about it, whereas sort of a few years ago, they'd all be crying about it, constantly wanting to go in the pits and try new strategies. And we didn't really have any of that, unless maybe it just wasn't broadcast potentially.
What I didn't catch was where the categories were, because they can move. If you're not aware, Pirelli have a range of tyres that are all numbered, and the soft, medium, and hard could float between that depending on what they pick. So I'm not sure where they picked it. I'm guessing, given the deg, it was the lower end. So the soft potentially was a 2, maybe 1 or a 2, etc., etc. So the hards didn't actually go as far as I thought they were going to go. So when Lewis switched to the hard, I think it was on his first or second pit stop, I can't remember. I thought, well, hang on, Russell's talking about a 3 stop, but he's on hards. Can he not go to the end? Because he only had about half a race left, I think. And I genuinely thought, okay, maybe he can get to the end on this. Obviously, very quickly, it became pretty obvious that they were down on the lower end and he was going to have to stop again. Potentially twice, actually, depending on how the race had played out. But yeah, I genuinely expected a bit more of a difference between the soft and the mediums, or even the hards, actually, off the line. And there wasn't. I really did expect Hamilton to get that lead in the first corner, and he didn't. And I genuinely thought for a while there that was kind of job done, into procession mode. See you at the finish.
No, I thought that as well, but I was actually really nervous when I saw Hamilton get put on the hards on things like 20 odd laps to go, and I was like, is he going to do it all the way? Because I'm sure he's going to be crying at the end of it, and he's going to have to be fighting. And as you say, they just behaved a little bit different than what we're used to. But I think that's because we're just coming off the back of not as a hotter race, really. I think and also it's a proper circuit as well now.
Yeah.
Obviously, about a few street circuits as well. Because I know that everyone's been saying this is like the official test of the cars, so to speak. And that was probably why, really, because it's a little bit different.
Wow, it was cool. But yeah, it was some interesting choices for Ferrari. Their strat was really good. I can't really criticize them overall. I'm pretty impressed with McLaren. I think they're firmly the third team now. Still about, according to Lando, I think he said he was 0.3 a lap off on average, which is doable. And he did obviously make a good point, which I'd kind of half forgotten about, halfway through the season now. They pushed like hell last year to get that championship. And as a result, development of the new car suffered, as it always does. So they are a couple of months behind in terms of development, which kind of explains why we're where we are. Yeah, they've had a spring break, which has helped. And we've got summer break coming up with some more upgrades coming throughout the year. I really, really hope we get to a situation towards the end of the year where we've got 3 teams battling, because that'll make the season so interesting.
Yeah, I think the only issue we've got at the moment, I was thinking about this the other day, because obviously McLaren are doing all right now, or better now, like you say, but it is sort of being carried by Norris, I think.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It is literally down to how well people are adapting to these new cars. And I know that you were saying, obviously, Hamilton didn't get on with the previous regulations. You've got Oscar now struggling, and then in a way, you've got George struggling against Kimi, and then Leclerc struggling over Hamilton. And it's just strange that these regulations either fit a driver or don't. But I mean, that's your driving style. That's what you're used to. I think Hamilton said that he wanted more rear end like the Mercedes. But I don't think Leclerc does. And obviously for Verstappen, he likes really tight front end to sort of weave it in, and it's all different driving styles.
It is. No, I mean, Verstappen likes quite a nervous car, because he can just tip it in and then deal with it as he comes to it. Interesting to hear what you said about Leclerc. I actually think he's seen the difference that Hamilton's bringing, and I think he likes it. His performance this weekend, I think, was really good and really positive. And despite the power steering failure, I think he would have gone on to get a really good result, probably best result of the season for him in terms of his mental state, his confidence. I think he looks good. And I think he could probably get on with the regs, with the cars, the way that they are, so long as the reliability comes up and his confidence comes up once he's used the new brakes and the new setup a bit more. Because that's all got to be rebuilt now. He's had so many offs on, is it 4 or 5 weekends on the bounce, something like that. He's had something, or he's crashed it or something. So he's got his confidence to rebuild with all that. And if he likes what he's got under him now, that shouldn't take that long. And we should hopefully see him back on the podium again very soon.
No, I've heard everyone, so obviously he's crashed out in the past 3 sessions, basically. But I don't really... See, I think that it's not always him. I think he's a very good racing driver that is absolutely going to risk it to win. And unfortunately, it doesn't always play out. But I think you are right, because previously I reckon that Ferrari's been leading Leclerc. He's the golden boy. He's got the contract extension. Whereas now he's seen that Lewis is leading the team, which is why he's starting to copy some of the stuff and he's starting to like it. And I don't think these past few crashes actually mean anything, to be honest. I don't think he's lost his confidence. I think he's just finding himself in this sort of cultural shift that Ferrari's going around and sort of seeing what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, Leclerc's always been all or nothing. Do you remember Baku a few years back?
I am stupid.
Yeah. I mean, it's a really easy place to go off because it's a bloody tricky little corner, is that? He's kind of always been riding the edge. And I think he probably has been doing a lot of that as well. Who knows? Maybe the brakes were just crap and they were just catching him out. And maybe he just was in a bit of a dog that didn't behave. Maybe he's got it sorted now. Yes, he's had a bit of bad luck with retirements, but I'm hoping we'll see him come back up again. And that'll be 4 drivers that we'll have in the fighting for the top spot. So we've got a proper championship on his hands. I'm still keeping my fingers crossed that Max and Red Bull are going to pull something together and get in that fight as well. I am wondering about Piastri because he's sort of just disappeared into the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, you don't really even see him in post-race interviews or anything, which is really weird.
There's nothing, is there? Yeah, he just seems to have fallen off a cliff. A bit like Williams as well. You know, we had last year Carlos Sainz getting some amazing results for the team. I was so hoping they were going to continue that. I want to see Williams. I don't honestly see them being in a position for a top 3, apart from the odd race here or there. But I want to see them up top of the field. They at least deserve best of the rest. Or at least to fight for it.
It's the same as Cadillac, though. They've just nowhere to be seen. The last time I heard anything about them was Bottas, that turned out to be a malicious rumour.
Yes. Yeah. Interesting that they shut that down quite firmly, actually, the way that they did. They could quite easily have left that to bubble because, at the end of the day, even if it wasn't true, it's free advertising for them. It's people talking about them in some way, shape or form.
As soon as I heard it, I just had Christian Horner in my head going,
Change your car.
Well, speaking of Christian Horner, there are rumours about him in Alpine. Interesting. What do you feel about that? Do you want to see Christian back?
Personally, yeah. I think he was... I need to be careful what I say here.
Yeah.
Looking at it from an F1 fan point of view, he was a very good team principal. Obviously, he brought Jaguar up from the ashes into the sort of dominating 2 different eras.
Yeah.
I think he has every right to be a team principal in that respect. However, all the stuff that went on behind the scenes, it's down to the people that actually have to work with him and deal with that. that sort of stuff. Although I did love to see him and Toto just constantly at each other. It's very entertaining.
Yeah, we need that. And Briatore's been very quiet. He seems to be on his best behaviour. We don't really hear about him.
Yeah,
In
I
fact,
think he has to be, doesn't he?
Technically, he shouldn't even be leading the team, to be honest. He shouldn't even really be in F1. He's been banned for life. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he does. But, I mean, it's Flavio Briatore. Can he really keep quiet for that long?
Maybe he just is like a puppet master and gets other people to do it now. Because I view him as Alonso in like 2005, like Teflon. Nothing sticks to him.
Actually, I'm glad you brought Alonso up because that's just reminded me. Obviously, Lewis is now, I think he's the oldest driver to win a championship.
Race.
Yeah?
Eventually championship.
Sorry. Was that wishful thinking? Maybe it was. Who knows? Yeah, maybe it was. Okay, yeah, no, good call. Sorry. Yeah, race. Oldest driver to win a race. How great would it be to see Alonso change teams? Yes, I know there's talk of him retiring for good this time, but if Lewis can win at that age, that opens the door for Alonso. Do we think Alonso has still got it in him?
Oh,
if you put him in the right car.
Yeah, this is the weird thing, though. So you say they're old, but they are the absolute pinnacle of their fitness still. They only retire because they get a little bit bored sometimes, or they've got other stuff to do and life moves on. But there's contrasting claims with Alonso. So obviously there's loads of rumours that he's set to retire soon, or, I mean, even on Friday, he might have announced his retirement. But there's an interview a few weeks ago where he said he doesn't want to leave F1 until his son, seen him win a race, which says to me he's going to be staying around for a bit, which is really weird. I don't know what to make of it.
I don't see him still being with Aston after this year.
What's his contract to? Because a lot of contracts run out this year, don't they?
I think he's just got a 12-month contract on it.
Where would he move to, though? So I reckon...
well, other than Alpine.
Yeah, he's done that before, though. I reckon he'll move back and try and bring back the glory days, as it were.
I think Williams is pretty much sorted, isn't it? I don't think there's a space there.
All the top teams are sorted, like Merc, Red Bull, Ferrari.
Yeah. I genuinely don't see Merc changing. I don't see Ferrari. No, Ferrari definitely won't change. I mean, they're changing around Lewis, and Charles just extended his contract, so they're not changing.
Plus, Alonso tried it with Ferrari before and got close, but I don't think they'll try it again.
There's an outside chance he could go to McLaren.
Oh, imagine that. Third time lucky, eh?
Maybe. If Piastri leaves, if for whatever weird, spurious reason that suddenly a seat opens up at McLaren, because I believe Flavio's actually Alonso's manager, I think. If he gets him into McLaren with 12 months on development on the car, get him into that sort of top 3 window, that could be spicy. Right. Okay. Come on then. Let's do it. Let's do F1 Austria predictions.
So I really don't want to do this because anyone I pick seems to do terribly. So Lance Stroll is my top. He's going to win.
Don't be silly.
It's going to be interesting, this. So it's a good circuit.
It's quick but short. Very short lap.
I'm going to be sort of a bit more reasonable, I think, this time. And I'm also not going to forget my favourite driver, Hamilton, as you keep picking him and he keeps winning. I want to break the mould. I'm going to pick him and he's going to be where I say he's going to be. I don't think he's going to be number 1 next for the next race, to be honest. I think that one of the Mercs will get to him. So I'm going to go for Antonelli in first because provided he didn't have that engine failure, he would have actually beaten Russell.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for Hamilton in second because I really, really want him to. Now I've said that, he's going to have a DNF. Let's see how that ages, eh?
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go for Russell in third as well because I reckon Leclerc could be in third but I reckon that Russell will get to him. But we'll see if anyone's car blows up.
So I'm going to go with... I'm going to agree with you and go... I think I'm going to agree with you. Antonelli first.
Yeah?
Yeah? Is that what you said? Yeah.
That is indeed.
Yeah. I'll agree with you on Antonelli first. I'm going to say Hamilton second.
Oh. This is a good tactic you've got here.
Yeah, I know, right? And, decisions. Now, I can either go Norris or I could go Russell. I'm going...
I think you have to go for Norris, because otherwise we've got exactly the same prediction.
Okay, yeah, just for the sake of difference, I'll go Norris then. Although I've got to be honest, I think you might be bang on. I'm going to say that now before we even get to next week. I think you might be bang on.
We'll have to find out, because every time you say it, it's generally right. But if I say it's wrong, so now we've really upset the gods on 1-2.
Yeah, what happens when we both agree?
Neither of them make it to the track.
Yeah. Do I want to change? No, I don't think I do. Antonelli first, Hamilton second, a strong second.
You don't get extra points if it's a strong second or not, you know.
No. I think I just agree with you. I think I genuinely do just agree with you. No, I think you're right. I'll go Antonelli first, Hamilton second, Norris third.
Just pick your choices.
Yeah, they're my choices, and I'm going to stick with it. We're probably going to be way off, but we'll see. We will see you again for the next show. In the meantime, don't forget you can follow us on pretty much all socials at TMFpod23. And you can also visit the website at www.themotorsportfiles.com. That's it then. Should we leave it there and wrap it up?
Sounds like a plan. On to the next one.
On to the next one. Fingers crossed. Keep your fingers crossed for right. Nice one. All right, mate. Thanks very much. We'll see you again next time.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.